Hello everybody, welcome back to another live stream. My name is Sam. If you've not met me before, hello, hi, welcome to Tonicized. If you are a frequent flyer of the live stream and you're back for more fun and music theory, ready to rock and roll. Yes, a microwave did go off. You did hear that correctly. It was with the piano too, so I don't know if it was in key, but all is well. Very fun. Okay, so welcome everyone to the live stream. Today is going to be essentially music theory focused. So if you want to have, questions, that kind of thing, we can talk a little bit about what that means and what questions you want to ask if you ask them in the chat. So make sure that you say hello in the chat if you are a new viewer, if you will, and we'll go from there. But I want to start by talking about diatonic chords today. I want to start talking about the Roman numerals, and I want to start talking about how you can start looking at them in a different way. Because if you understand Roman numerals and if you understand diatonic chords, you can really start to play around with any type of song, style, genre, and start playing around with the harmonies easily. So that's what I'm hoping we can do today. Can you tonicize Ionian sharp 6? Isn't that just a dominant chord? I sure can. Can we talk about figured bass? Oh man, I haven't looked at figured bass in a long time. Let me get back to you on that one. But yeah, so there we go. There's the dominant chord, and there's the tonicization. It goes to a 1, which is great. Okay, so let's talk about diatonic chords today, because I think it's going to be a very important part of a lot of our kind of musical journeys. I do want to give a bit of a shout out to Music Man. I saw that he was able to play through a tune called Autumn Leaves, so fantastic work there. Great stuff. Yeah, really sounded great. Really sounded great. Okay, so diatonic chords, what the heck are they? We're going to start from the beginning, and then Tim, I think we're going to go a little bit crazy, I think, towards the end if you've got questions. So keep those to the end, please. We're going to start from the beginning as if you've never heard about them before, and then we're going to work into some of the more kind of advanced concepts with them. So diatonic chords are essentially chords that you can build within your scale. So what that means is, if you've got, a beautiful C major scale, that is a really fun scale to play around with because it has no sharps and flats, and this is a great beginner scale. Now, we're going to use different scales today. We're going to start doing E flat major, B flat major, that kind of stuff, but we're also going to use this guy, the circle of fifths. Now, I know that some of us are familiar with this, maybe some of us aren't, so let's quickly review this, but there is a video on it on the channel, so you can go check those out. It's amazing. It's one of my best videos so far, and I'm very proud of that one. Took a lot of work. The video quality is not the best, but the content's top notch for me, and I'm very proud of that, the way the content's presented. So the circle of fifths is basically a way to divide up our key signatures and keep track of how many sharps or flats there are in each specific key. We start at C major at the top with 0, work our way to the right side is the sharps, and work our way from the left side is the flats. And as you'll notice, if you move up from C to G, you'll get 5 notes there, if you count C and G. From G to D, you have 5 notes, and D to A, you have 5 notes as well. That's moving up the piano. If you go down, we get to the flats, which is a very interesting thing. Now, an important piece of information here with moving between the positions is that you have to move within the key signatures. So you can't just move 5 notes. You have to make sure you keep the key signatures in mind as you move between each specific space. So that is a big piece. Now, as you move through the circle, either to the left or to the right, you're going to start using a sentence to add your sharps or flats. This is going to be G major, right? G major is one position away from C, one position, one sharp. This means that F sharp is the key signature. That is the first word of the sentence. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And you can continue this pattern all the way through. D major has 2. This means that Father Charles, F and C. A has 3. Father Charles goes. E, Father Charles goes down. B, Father Charles goes down and you can continue on, so forth. The flats are a little different. We have to say the sentence backwards. So F is 1 flat, meaning that you have B flat. 2 flats for B flat is B and E, and you get the picture. All the way down to the end, you can go battle ends, and down goes Charles' father, adding 1 from before as you work through the circle of fifths. Now, we've got that out of the way. This is important. Why? Because when you add your diatonic chords, or when you play your diatonic chords, there's a specific pattern that arises, and it happens every single time. And this pattern is extremely important. And I wanted to show it to you here briefly because it's fantastic. Okay, great. So I'm getting this from Music Theory pugesound.ed. I'm going to make one of my own, but I wanted to give the shout out just in case. So these are the diatonic chords, okay? We have all of the chords that we can build in the key of C. So if you looked at, the scale, here's what it happens. You go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then you start making chords with it. So there's C major, there's D minor, there's E minor, there's F major, there's G major, there's minor, B diminished, and then once we get back to C, it restarts. These are the diatonic chords. Now, when you play through these kinds of things, you can start to see a pattern. And the pattern is, my friends, major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Those are the main kind of starting blocks for the diatonic chords. Now, yes, Tim, you can always add suspended chords in any of these, which is really cool. We'll talk a little bit about that. Essentially, you change the third note or the middle note to be either one step up or one step down, and it creates a suspended chord. But let's talk about why these chords are actually happening and what's going on, and why are some major, some minor, and some diminished. Because I see there's a question in the chat from Music Man about why is the 7th degree diminished. Well, hopefully I'll be able to answer your question here today. Let's dive into why this happens. So when you have your key signatures, right? These are the secret to success when it comes to the I'm going to just zoom out a little bit so you guys can see it. Or not. Maybe not. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Essentially, the key signatures are the key to figuring out why something is minor or something is diminished. When you move up your scale, right? Because you're in this specific key, you have to keep the C major key signature. Always. That's the rule. Now, when we move up to the next chord, which is D minor here, what happens? Well, because we're in D minor, right, that makes it sound sad. What if we wanted to sound happy? Well, we can't unless we force it. We can always force things. But when it comes to sticking to the diatonic chords, C major is the bully. Or whatever key you're starting with is the bully. He or she, depending on who you are, is going to kind of push all of the other harmonies into the key signature that they are in. So if C is your key signature, you can't have any single sharp or flat. It's just not possible. So we need to make sure we keep that into account. Now, keep in mind, there are 4 different types of triads, right? There's major, there's minor, there's augmented, and diminished. Now, augmented doesn't happen in this, so we're going to ignore it. But major, minor, and diminished. We have 1, 3, 5 of the scale for major. We have 1 flat 3, 5 for the minor. And then we have 1 flat 3 and flat 5 for the diminished chord. Now, I have a video on this as well that you should watch before you do the diatonic chords if you don't understand this concept. It's a very fun, very simple concept to wrap your head around. And I made a 15-minute video about it, so you can go check it out. It's the 4 chords that you should know or you need to know. That is a fantastic, fantastic resource for you to start exploring these chords on your own. Now, a major chord has a major third and a perfect fifth. Yes, you could also think of it as a major third and a minor third. So that's something as well. You can build them in different ways. For the more kind of precise measurement, yes, that is a great way to do it. This is a simple, easy way to do this. So, C major. We're going to move up to the next chord, D minor. Now, if you look at that circle of fifths, what does the D minor say? It says 2, which means we have 2 stinking sharps to worry about. And what are the sharps? Father and Charles, so F and C. So when I go to play this D chord, what note should be sharped? Well, supposedly F sharp and C sharp were supposed to be in the key signature of D major, and that sounds fantastic. So it normally, in the major world, in a happy version of this chord's world, is going to sit here on the major chord, the sharp. However, what key are we in? We're in the key of C. So if we were to stick inside of our diatonic chords, we have to make sure that this is lowered, making it a 1 flat 3 5, fitting into that minor chord position. Now, from major to minor, that sounds great. You can also do major to major to major. Right. That sounds very kingly, right? Very Knights of the Round Table, but that is outside of the diatonic chord, so that is different than what we're talking about here today. That comes from somewhere else, which we'll talk about another stream. So there's the minor. We're going to move up 1 more chord to the E. Now, this is also a minor chord. What happens to this one? Well, in the key of E, we have 4 sharps. You can see just at the bottom there before it gets cut off. So the 4 are Father, Charles goes down, right? That's fantastic. So 4 sharps, Father, Charles goes down. This is, it says A flat here, and I apologize. Chordy is not super precise with the notation here, but that is also a G sharp, technically. G sharp. There you go. So now we've got E major, but can we have this in the key of C? Absolutely not. We cannot, because C has no sharps or flats, so it makes it a minor chord. We went from here, flat 3, 5, and 1. Fantastic. Awesome. The pattern is always major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Abso-flippin'-lutely. It's awesome. Moving up to the next one is a major. Now, F major has 1 flat, B flat, but because we don't play a B flat in this triad, C major doesn't have to change anything. It's really quite nice. It's sneaky. It's a sneaky little chord. It's great. G major is the 5, right? We have no changes here. However, if we wanted to add a 4-note chord, this is where the 5th position gets all of its power from. This is a dominant chord, and we've talked about dominance a ton on these streams. Dominant chords are the powerful reset buttons of music. They take that chord and they can bring it back to the 1. Now, why does this work? The tritone. The tritone is a very unstable interval, and that makes it want to resolve to the inside voices. So when you have this beautiful, beautiful sounding chord with that gross harmony inside, it wants to resolve to C. Very classical music. There we go. Got the reverb off. So this dominant chord only happens when we have a 7th chord, or 4-note chords essentially, because G major has that F sharp in its key signature. We've lowered it down, making it 1, 3, 5, flat 7. But if you're just sticking with triads, which is totally cool, it's just a major chord, and it's fine that way because it also has that that B to C. There it is. Fantastic. So that is the 5th position. Moving to the 6th position, A, supposed to have 3 sharps. Father Charles goes. There's a C there. So we should have the C sharp there, but because we're in the key of C, we cannot have this. So it makes it a 1 flat 3 5 minor chord. And then finally, our diminished chord. Now this one's tricky. The key of B major has 5 sharps. You can't see it on this little graph here, but it does have 5, and it is Father Charles goes down. And now, I've got 2 sharps to worry about here. I've got Father, and I've got Charles goes down, and. So, these 2 raised up make a major chord, which means that if we have to put it into the key of C major, we have to take those 2 notes and lower them back down, flatting the 3rd and flatting the 5, making it a diminished chord. This is the reason why the 7th is always diminished, because there's always 2 notes that have to change in order to fit into the key signature. Now, that is all of the diatonic chords in a nutshell. I went really fast there, but if you want to learn more about those kinds of things, I think there's a video on it. I can't actually remember. I should probably go and look at that right now to see if there is a video about that. Let's just see here before I get too ahead of myself. Yes, there is. It's called How the Romans Changed Your Music Forever. Not my most viewed video, which is hilarious, but it's probably the most important one in terms of music and musicality. So if you want to check that one out, it's one of the more important ones. It's only 14 minutes, which is great, and you can speed up the time, which is even better. So, awesome. That is diatonic chords in a nutshell. Now, I see that there's a question about the tritone thing again, so I'm going to break that down. The augmented chord shows up in some other modes that I like to talk about. Yes, so we're going to talk about what's the next steps with these now. So this is just the major diatonic chords, right? But there's also a relative minor diatonic chord sequence, and that is where we can start to add some of the spicier chord progressions or start exploring different chords entirely. So augmented chords, diminished chords all over the place, that kind of thing. We're going to start looking at that in just a second, but let me explain the tritone first. So the tritone is, like I said, a very powerful unstable. So there's the tritone. A tritone is essentially 3 groups of whole tones. That's it. 1, 2, 3, which is fantastic. That's it played all together. It doesn't really matter what that is, but there it is. So now, when you have this tritone, it wants to resolve. It wants to either go up, right, or down. Now, you don't have to move all of them. You can just move one. Ha, my bad. That's a very spooky resolution. It doesn't quite sound like it finishes. But if I put the G on there. Alright, you can hear how it's almost like the blues. Almost. Pretty cool. So, the tritone is unstable and it wants to resolve. That's what makes it powerful. So when you resolve it, inwards, you get the C and the E. And then the G is just kind of there. So you are resolving to the 1 chord, which is pretty cool. I hope that makes sense. Also, hot tip, when composing, if you find a pattern that you like using a particular scale or arpeggio for variation, you could just move the pattern into a different mode or scale and it works. Yes, so if you use the key signatures, right, or the modes, you can start bouncing around different ideas for sure. That's a huge tip. That's great. Thank you very much, Tim, for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so let's now talk about minor diatonic chords, because minor diatonic chords are different. And they're a little confusing. Oh, this is perfect. Yes. Okay. So this is music theory for the 21st century classroom. This is awesome. This is great. Gosh, I need to write something like this. This is awesome. Okay, so I'm not sure if I can show this one. Just to be, you know, copyright safe. I'm going to try and find a different one here. Okay. Yes. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. So I think what we're going to do. No, that was the best one. Yeah, that's the best one. Okay. So let's talk about the 4 types of minor scales that we have to work with in music, or at least the ones that are the most commonly used. We have natural minor. This is a minor scale that uses the same key signature as a major scale. We have the harmonic minor. This is the kind of the same key signature, but we've changed one note. We've raised the 7th. So our harmonic minor is the 7th note that is raised. The next one is melodic minor, and this is the 6th and 7th that's raised by a half step on the way up and then lowered on the way down, which is great. Those are the 3 main ones. There's a 4th one that's called the parallel minor, and this is something that is a very tricky concept to wrap your head around, especially if you're coming at this brand new. So what I'm going to say is that the parallel minor is a minor scale that starts on the same note as a major key. So if I wanted to play C major, the parallel minor of C major is C minor. Now, this is tricky because you have to know the key signature of C minor in order to play it correctly. Or you can use what I'm about to show you in order to figure out what your key signature is in relation to the major key signature. Now, Tim, the number pattern for extensions might be good to cover if people... Yes, so I think that is a familiar concept, but if it isn't, let me know in the chat. We can definitely go over that after this. I would love to talk about that as well. The extensions are a very important part of creating really kind of fancy or cool chords. Cards. No, not cards. You're not making cards. Okay, so let's talk about the natural minor first. How do we find the natural minor of any key signature? Well, to answer that question, we have to go to the circle of fifths, okay? With this, if you've got C major, right? And you go down 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. That, my friends, is the natural relative minor. So this is not parallel, this is relative. Relative means you're kind of sounding the same and you're using the same ingredients, but you're making a different scale. So now this is the same pattern or the same group of notes as C. The only difference is we're starting on A because we went down 3 semitones or 3 half steps. So a half step means that there's no note in between. No note, no note, no note. Great. Fantastic. So now we've got the natural minor. It's using the same notes as the major. With this natural minor, we can start to play around with some of the sounds. And by doing that, we're going to create the harmonic minor and the melodic minor. Now, there are rules. We can't just go and muck around with whatever note we want. We have to use specific notes and different changes in order to make this happen. So, harmonic minor, harmonic relative minor. We are raising the 7th note. Now it says A flat there again. I apologize. It should be a G sharp because we are technically sharping that note. We're sharping G, making it the 7th note. We're lifting it up, right? So in Hollywood back in the 60s and the 40s, they used this a lot for kind of the Egypt sound, right? Very kind of very reminiscent of the Middle Eastern kind of music. or the sound that you can get with those types of instruments. So that is a fun little fact about the harmonic minor scale. Another way I remember the harmonic minor is if you take a can of 7-Up, so the pop or the soda, and you pour it across the piano, that is going to give you your raised seventh, which is really cool. So you pour 7-Up across the piano. Whoosh, don't actually do that, please. But shh, and then bada boom, bada bing, you've got yourself a sharp 7. Now this was, I don't take credit for this little idea. This came from my first ever music teacher, Mrs. Archer. So if Mrs. Archer is watching this at all, at any point, thank you for that. It stuck with me. So sharp 7, right? You get that nice, lovely half step sound. It's also the reason we call this mode double harmonic major. I like the 7-Up visualization. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Tim, you know your stuff. It's great. Let's see here. Super low Korean, yes. Tim, you love the deep end, my friend. Okay, the number pattern. Yes, we've already. Yes, cool. So I've never heard of the parallel minor. Yes, it's a powerful tool. We're going to talk about it in just a second. So here we are. We've got the harmonic minor, and then we have melodic minor, which is essentially the same thing plus an extra step. You're taking the 6th and the 7th and raising it on the way up, and on the way down you're bringing it back down to the natural. So a bit of a Frankenstein. There. Wonderful. So very cool stuff you can do with the 3 different types of minor scales there, but there is one more, and it's the parallel minor. But we're going to talk about that in just a second, because I want to talk about the chords we can build with these types of scales. So we're working with the 3 for right now. At the risk of, here, let's just do this here. Great. I'm going to just pop this on. Oh, there we go. Ah, you guys got to watch that. That was fun. So A minor, right? I want to make stuff like this in terms of kind of legibility, because this is a very hard chart to read if you're not sure what you're looking for. So natural minor has A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, and G major. And the pattern, if you look at where it starts, right? If you were to put this as the major starting point, so C major, right? Look at this. It goes major, minor, minor, major, major, minor diminished. But it's weird because we've actually snuck in and started on the 6th position. So minor diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major. Kind of weird. The other thing that's weird is the minor 5 here. Now the minor 5 is a cool little tidbit of information, because when you're playing a song with chords, right? If I'm going C major to G major, and then works, right? So what we've done is we've taken this chord progression, the natural minor, and we've kind of rearranged it. So you're using kind of this combination of a major diatonic chord progression and a minor diatonic chord progression to have this very rare minor 5 kind of thrown in at random. And you can put this wherever you'd like, as long as it's the 5 minor, which is pretty cool. What I want to know is if there's a different name for harmonic minor. There really isn't. Harmonic minor has its own name. That's just what it is. It's one harmonic minor, dunzo. It's pretty cool. Hello, Daye. welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here. Glad you've made it to the chat. Great to see you. And hello to everyone. I didn't really say hello, I realized. So I want to say hello to Tim, Music Video Piano, Colleen. Who else is here? Carol. Hello, Carol. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. Yeah, minor, minor, major, minor, minor, major, major is the natural minor. Harmonic minor changes things up a bit because we have that sharp 7. Remember harmonic minor, you pour 7 up on the piano. So now the 7th note is going to change some of these chords. You can see how this one here, the C augmented is what the plus means. You now have the major 5 and the diminished 7, which is pretty cool. So let's play up and see how it goes. We have A minor, B diminished, C augmented, and this is where that sharp 7 is. Which is pretty cool. So you can throw that into a progression whenever you'd like. You have the minor 4, the major 5, we're back to normal with our major 5, fantastic. A major 6, and then a diminished 7, which is the same as the major, if you remember the pattern for the major diatonic chord progressions. So we've got some combinations of a lot of stuff in this harmonic minor. But what's really, really fun is if you memorize this and you can get this in your hand, or even write it down on a piece of paper and put it on the side, you can start playing around with, okay, let's go with A minor. C augmented, D minor, G sharp diminished, A minor, and then very cool. Now it is saying the harmonic minor, that is a very rare chord with that 3 augmented, but it is a cool chord to try and use all the same. Last but not least, we have melodic. Now this one is a bit of a spicy one. It's used very infrequently because it just sounds very odd and it's hard to use. But I shouldn't say that. There are some genres that use these kinds of scales a lot more than others. So melodic minor, we have A minor. We've got the B minor, which is a little bit rare when it comes to the minor diatonic chord progressions. Normally this is a diminished, right? But now we've got that raised 6th. Oh. All right, so we're changing that F sharp to fit into the diatonic chords. Fantastic. Here's the augmented again, so that's fantastic. Again, rare, but possible. A major 4, which is really cool. So that's a sneaky one, but if you think about the major, that's a normal major 4. So kind of a fun little thing yet. And then major 5, diminished 6, diminished 7, and back to 1. So those final 2 chords are spicy, to say the least, and they are quite the challenge to wrap your fingers around. Now, this is all in the key of C major, which is pretty cool. It's all in the key signature of no sharps, no flats, which is really weird. And then you go to the harmonic minor and you get those raised 6th and 7th notes. This is where all the sharps are coming from. But you can imagine how much more challenging this is going to be when you have different key signatures. So my best advice for learning these is to stick with C major for a time, just so you can understand the patterns and the shapes. At the same time, you can start learning the circle of fifths and really diving into it. Maybe watch the video once, twice, 3 times a week. Who knows that I have on the channel. Just raise those views up. Get them up there. I don't need that. That's no. It's all just good information to digest every day. Every day. Just, you know, a circle of fifths a day keeps the doctor away. Yeah, that's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt waiting to happen. Yes. Fantastic. I cannot wait to see you more and more, Daya. Oh, like what do the other cultures call it? That is something that I am not entirely sure. I really am not sure. There's something I do want to get into more of is like traveling and talking to people about music in different countries and seeing what their perspective is. Because this is a very, I come from a very European classical influence with the jazz influence. So I started with classical music, switched to jazz. So I have a very kind of North American, European approach to music. But I realize that there is a lot more out there when it comes to understanding how the sounds work, what the sounds mean, and how they can kind of organize them in different ways. And I really, really want to start diving deeper into that and learning more about that in different cultures. So maybe some travel is in my future, and some vlogs and some other things like that would be fun. But for the time being, I am here with my laptop and my composing, and it is lovely. All right, let's now talk about the parallel minor. So the same concept that we've talked about here with our natural minor is going to apply to our parallel minor. The parallel minor is, like I said before, C minor is going to be the parallel minor of C major. So it has the same name as the major, but we have to know the circle of fifths. So let's do that quickly. Now, when we try to find the key signature of a parallel minor, you have to work backwards. So that means that you are working up 3 semitones from your parallel minor's starting point. I'll say that again. So when you're finding a parallel minor, you have to use the 3 semitones or 3 half steps to find the major that you are using as its key signature. So C major and C minor are very different. Very, very different. But not to fear, we can figure out what key signature C minor is using easily. Well, how many flats do we have? 3. Boom. That's a dead giveaway. We already know it's an E flat major. But there's another way to do it if you don't know the circle of fifths super, super well. 1 semitone, 2 semitones, 3 semitones, and you have landed on E flat major. Now this is your key signature. When you find this, you can say, okay, E flat has 3 flats, so battle, and. Those are your flats for the minor scale, which is fantastic. Now, when we create diatonic chords with this guy, this starts to sound a little bit cooler. We have minor, diminished, major, minor, minor, major, major, and minor. Very similar to what we had with our natural minor. It's the exact same pattern. The only difference, we're starting on the same note that our major scale started on. Why is this important? It's because if you're playing a song in the key of C and you want to spice up some of the chords, or maybe you're writing a song and you want to spice up some of the harmonies, you can borrow from your parallel minor and use your major diatonic chords, and it will sound fantastic. It's extremely cool to use, and I'm going to show you what this is going to sound like. So let's slide over to this view, and we can start talking about what's going on with these chords. When I play a chord progression, let's say I have a 1, 2, 5, 4, 1. So 1, 2, 5, 4, 1 in the key of C. It's a very fun progression. Say that again, please, Sam. Absolutely. You can have the chords from your major diatonic chords and your parallel minor and mix them together in a chord progression. So what this means is you can create some spicier chord progressions. Not just 1, 6, 4, 5 or 1, 4, 6, 5, I guess I should say. We have something different. We have to the minor, and now we're going to go back to the major. Maybe we go to a lot in musical theater. I don't know where I was going to be with you. Right? It's got that really spooky kind of element to it. It's so warming. So that's F major to F minor, and that's using the parallel minor, which is great. You can also add a flat 3 major. Now this is a little bit scary, don't worry. Those notes, I can go here. If you've ever watched Star Wars, that's what it is. It's a flat 3 major from the parallel minor chord progression, and then the 1 of the major diatonic chords. So lots of spicy things going on here. That didn't sound quite good. So some of them work better than others for sure, but that was kind of a neat idea. Again, same thing. We have a 5 and then a flat 6 major from the parallel minor. And then you just add some rhythms on it. Guys. I got coffee. Thank you, Coffee Fairy. Very nice. Awesome. Flat 3 is cool. Playing with that now. Yeah, it's a very fun one, Feroz. And welcome to the chat. I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Welcome, welcome. Lots of cool stuff you can do with all of those parallel diatonic chords. Parallel minor diatonic chords, I should say. Yowza. That's a little hot, but it's good. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, 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 yum. Awesome. That is all I really wanted to talk about with parallel minors and diatonic chords and all that good stuff. That was a lot of information we covered in 45 minutes. That was a lot. So if you're wondering, like, what did I just watch? You can watch this back over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's fantastic. It's what I love about YouTube. What I love about streaming on YouTube is because you can go back and watch these. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So flat 100 flat 11 major. Did Milo make the coffee? No, Milo didn't make the coffee. I would be concerned if Milo made the coffee. That would be fun. He was extremely he likes to wake us up very early because he wants food. So he'll wake up right when the sun comes up, and in the summertime here it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, and he'll just gently press his paw against your face and just hold it there. It's fun. Oh no! Oh no, I'm so sorry, Colleen. Yes, I'm sorry. Here, I'll just kind of. Ew, that was. Oh no, I don't want. Oh no, you don't want coffee. No way. That's funny. Yes, I'm sorry if I make you drink coffee at 2:16 in the morning. Oh man, I really hope you don't do that, because then you'd be like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. That'd be crazy. That's very funny. Awesome, you guys. This is fantastic. Very good stream. Okay, if there's any more questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I'm gonna start playing some tunes here, and wrong button. Oh, can I ask you to show me a walking baseline for autumn leaves? Yeah, that would be sick. Cool. So, I'm going to pull up autumn leaves. Now, I can't remember exactly what key your autumn leaves is in, Time and Tony, off the top of my head, but I hope that whatever I'm going to show you here will be helpful regardless. Let's see here. I'm going to pull up this guy. iReal Pro. I love this. I'll have to show you guys this. So, let's do the autumn leaves. Oh, what? I don't have... That's just derpy. Okay, hold on a sec, you guys. Let me... Should probably do that. So you are... Cool. Can you do that, but then transpose it into harmonic? Oh, why would I do that? That sounds like so much work. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that's great. I'm actually gonna do all of these because it's funny. I had to delete all the stuff off of my computer when I left my other job, and so I lost all the jazz charts. So I have to get them all back now. But looks like I got them all, which is great. Yes, good stuff. Okay, let's hide that and zoom in on that. Great. So now here is autumn leaves. You've got some really cool stuff, some really cool chords. I'm gonna try and get rid of that. There we go. So I've got autumn leaves. The autumn leaves. So Autumn Leaves is a very fun tune, and this is the starting chord is C minor. So Tony, if your piece starts with C minor, let me know. But if it doesn't, let me know what chord it does start in. Now, bass lines are fun. Sequel called Winter Leaves. Oh, that would be fun. Winter Leaves. Well, is that winter as in like the tree leaves, or winter leaves as in winter goes away and spring is here? Because there could be a play on words there. In C flat minor melodic, please, says Dia. No, it's a foreign language, but walking bass lines. Yeah, so let's talk about how you can build a walking bass line while Tony figures out what chord is the starting chord. C minor 7 is the chord, and if you get really familiar with that chord shape, that is going to be easy for you to recognize. But when I start playing the bass line, I'm literally outlining the 3 notes of the triad, the minor triad, which we were talking about just now. And that's a great bass line if you wanted to just alternate 1 3 5 3. Works great. Starts on D7. What? D7? What? Starts on D7? At my window, autumn leaves. Oh, so it's D minor to start. Okay, got it. So you are here. There we go. Perfect. Yay! You're a minor triad. What? You said autumn leaves there, my friend. It is definitely autumn leaves, right? Or am I just... The autumn leaves outside my window. The autumn leaves of red and gold. That's the song, right? Maybe it just doesn't sound like it because there's no melody, perhaps. Carol Thompson, what does the percentage indicate? Okay, so the percentage here, this is an app I use called iReal Pro. It has a bunch of jazz charts on it you can download from a forum, which is fantastic. Shout out to iReal Pro, they're the best. But when you are playing through jazz charts, all you get is the chord symbols. That's literally it. And when you have the chord symbols, sometimes they are lazy and they don't want to write it again, so they just put a percentage sign. So this just means A minor 6, A minor 6. Same here, A minor 6, A minor 6. So you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, which is it. That's it. So let's just try here. Yeah, and you can practice along. It's great fun. I'm going to take the piano away. And I'm going to lower this down a little bit. It's very boomy is what I've noticed, so that's fine. And then we speed it up to 170. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay, good. You smile your lips and your tender kisses. Yeah, something like that. Cool. So you can hear the bass line. Now this is of course a lovely computer making that bass line. But how do you play bass lines on your own? Well, if you got the D minor 7, right? Just outline it. And then try to outline the G7. Or the G triad, right? You can do the big loud one if you want. Which is cool. 2, 3, 4. Right, those are all the root positions. Now if you wanted to maybe practice getting the inversions, which is great. That is simply put just moving down the chords by sliding. Down that way. So you kind of move in like a crab walk. You can do that all the way up. There's D minor again. So yeah, it's all good. So there's some rhythms you can add once you get these chords, right? But for now, if you wanted to just do the triads. So what did I do there? I just played the inversion. So instead of this, I'm playing this. Because now I'm only a step away from So what am I doing after that? So chromatic movement in bass lines is awesome. So if you have, right, that last one before I move to the next one. Right? So I'm moving from last one, my last quarter note of that measure. 1, 2, 3, 4 is a G sharp, and then it resolves to the root of the next chord, which is G7. So there we go. And now next chord is C, so I'm gonna go there you go. So you can kind of have some rhythm skips. Do do do, da ba do, boo boo boo. There we go. Now, this is a very hard thing to do with, you know, your right hand, which is also fun. Right? So if you're doing like essentially the basic knowledge that you need to do a bass line, which is fun. It's best to use the wrong hand. Yes, of course. And then what Tim is referring to here with the tritone substitution is if you have D minor, you can do something called the tritone substitution. So you can basically replace the D chord with the tritone equivalent. So a minor chord that's a tritone away. So if I went, yeah. Oh wait, oh, this is a bad example. But essentially, you can take the tritone with a bass line. So, right, and that's where the chromatic comes from too. So tritones away. It's a really sneaky business. We'll talk about that another day. But yeah, Tim, that's pretty cool. I like that. Cool. Let's actually play Autumn Leaves here. Let's see if we can do it. So yeah, that's why I like. I wanted to partly just kind of try and play it just so I could see if I could do it still. But yes, I apologize if that came across as showing off. That wasn't the intent. The intent was to show you guys iReal Pro, which is this awesome thing that you can buy. I think it's like 60 or 70 bucks or something like that. But you download all these jazz charts. You can practice, have a good time. I'm a jazzer, so the jazz kind of stuff. Well, sorry, I like playing jazz music. I'm not a jazzer, but I like playing jazz, and I like kind of messing around with some of these chords and having a good time. And the nice part is there's so many different tunes. Like you can go in and just say, hey, I want maybe like a Latin tune. What kind of Latin tunes you got? Okay, cool. Let's do this one. Cool, nice. And then you just play through it, and it's gonna give you a track, and it's like, yeah, it's awesome. And then blues, of course, you got all the blues charts. You got Everyday, Evil, Feel Like I'm Going Home, lots of stuff. I don't know all these tunes for sure. Maybe a few of them, but and there's tons of different ones out there. So you can really kind of start diving in. All you have to do is click that and goes to the iReal Pro forums, and you can literally look up anything you'd like, which is pretty cool. So yeah, that's Autumn Leaves. And if you want to add bass lines, I didn't add bass lines there. I was just trying to survive, honestly. I haven't played that kind of stuff in a while, so I should probably get back into that. Yeah, that's fantastic. So it's 11:04. Oh, okay, perfect. Thanks, Dias. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to come across as I'm showing off for sure. It's about you guys. It's about learning. It's about sparking musical passion and showing and showcasing what's out there to my abilities for sure. I'm not by any means the best piano player in the world, but I'm working on it just like you guys. And maybe you're working on a different instrument. Maybe you're working on guitar or vocals or cello. Who knows? If you're working on cello, please, can I have lessons? I'm just kidding. I don't even own a cello yet, so that's not even in the picture. But yeah, no, it's a great opportunity for all of us to come together and learn a little bit, which is great. So really jazzy version, Sam. Of course. Thank you for bringing it up. Thanks for having some fun with all of us here today, and this goes for everyone as well. Thanks for hanging out and having a good time. I'm going to call it for today. I do have some show prep I have to do for some of the charts that I've got here. Lots of good stuff. So that show is on Wednesday. So I'm going to be up to my eyeballs in stress until that show is done, and then I'm going to take a day. So thank you all very much for hanging out with me today. I'm going to start practicing these now. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message on Instagram, Sam_Vesely_official. You can also reach out to me on Twitter, Sam_Vesely_official, or YouTube. You can leave a comment down below one of the videos, ask some questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. And be sure to like and subscribe. A little like and a little subscribe goes a long way these days, and hopefully we're going to be able to crack that 1,000 subscriber mark here by the end of the year. That would be awesome if we could do that. So if you have friends that want to learn more about music theory and want to dive in and share the passion of music with all of us here in the chat, then by all means, let them know that we're here and having a good time every Tuesday, every Monday and every Saturday. That's the word. Yes. So we'll be back on Saturday. I'll have some updates on how the show went. Hopefully I'll be able to get some clips, some audio clips and some video clips, but I just haven't been able to find someone that can do it at the professional level that I wanted at. So, yeah, for the price that I can afford. So we might have to wait for another show until we get the whole documentary there, but that's okay. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves. Go listen to some music, of course. Go say hi to your loved ones. Give them a call. And take care of yourselves. I can't wait to see you guys on Saturday. See you then. This is Sam. This is Tonicized. Bye for now.